This is version 2 of the Strummer Stitching Iron Jig, and it's got some cool new features. The Strummer Jig helps leathercrafters improve their projects by helping make perfect stitching holes, and it does it in the following ways. First, it holds your stitching iron at 90 degrees. Second, it ensures each set of holes falls at the desired distance from the edge of the workpiece. The result of using this jig is that your stitching holes will always fall vertically through your work. This means that they will look the same and really great on both sides, and this sets the foundation for excellent and beautiful stitching. I first released this jig a few months ago, and the response has been really positive. There's been lots of engagement here on YouTube, Instagram, and on TikTok. Many people have purchased the jig, and we have some great reviews at strummerdesign.com. Among that response, there's been a lot of great feedback that drove the decisions for the new features of the Strummer Jig V2. In this video, I'll show you these new features, which are an integrated project thickness setting, which makes it really fast and easy to set up for your project, and this new round fence, which is used for making stitching holes on inside curves. I'll also talk a bit more about what stitching chisels will work with the jig. Setting the original jig for project thickness required sticking pieces of scrap to the bottom of the jig. This worked okay in terms of setting up for thickness, but there was definitely lots of room for improvement in both convenience and speed of setup. One of our customers noted in their 5-star review, "A very nice stitching aid. The only downside is not having an integrated way to level it with the leather thickness. Not a huge deal though. I would recommend this tool." I'm really happy to announce that the new version of the jig has this integrated thickness setting. I call it the back foot. Let me show you how it works. To set the back foot, you rest the front feet on the workpiece. You stack some scrap at the same thickness as the project and tuck it under the back of the jig. You loosen the back foot thumb screws, let the back foot fall to the work surface, then tighten the thumb screws. That's it, you're done. This is a pretty huge improvement over the last version because you don't need to glue up the scrap and then affix it to the bottom of the jig with double-sided tape, which is going to save you time and expense. The jig handles outside curves pretty well, and I've demonstrated this in a video where I made a sheath for my chef knife. In it, I show how to use the jig for gentle outside curves and points. Check the description for a link to that video. Inside curves were a bit of a problem. Now available is this additional fence, which rather than a straight edge, it has a round edge. To use it, you just swap it for the main fence, set for stitch width. Then you can bump the jig up against the edge and get the same nice vertical punches on those pesky inside curves. The last topic people have been asking about is what specific stitching irons work with the jig. Before getting into specific brands and models, let's cover the general requirements. First, the tool needs to be made of steel so that it will be held by the magnets on the jig's vertical support. These magnets come in really handy and act as a third hand when setting the jig's fence to the desired stitch line. Most tools are made of some kind of steel, but some are made of brass, and brass is not magnetic. Second, the handle of the tool needs to be mostly flat and/or have parallel sides. Some tools are perfectly flat with no taper, and they work great. Some have a slight taper only on a portion of the handle. As long as there's an inch or two of the handle that is not tapered, it should work just fine. Tools with round handles may not work well. Though not tapered, the tool can rotate on the face of the jig. It'll work, but you just need to be really careful that all the teeth are on the stitch line. Lastly, the jig will work fine with any tool with a reasonable number of teeth. Some irons are extraordinarily wide with upwards of 20 teeth. I designed the jig to comfortably fit a 10-tooth 4mm stitching iron. As long as the width of all the teeth is less than 1 3/4 inches or 45mm, then it should fit just fine. I'll put a list of all of the stitching irons that I have tested with in the description of this video, and I'll keep it updated as I acquire and test other tools. So there you have it. It's been really cool designing this tool first for myself and then making it available for others to use and purchase. And thank you to everybody who's been vocal about their thoughts on the jig, whether they're positive or negative. They are all super helpful when it comes to making improvements to the design. If you want to grab one for yourself, head on over to strummerdesign.com. We have V2 jigs available in walnut, maple, oak, and cherry. Again, that's strummerdesign.com. Check the links in the description. And thanks for watching.